everyone, today we are going to create a snowman that looks 3D. Now, what that means is that our snowman looks like he's actually round and made out of balls of snow rather than just being made out of plain old circles. Circles are 2D shapes. Spheres or balls of snow are 3D shapes. So, when you look at something in a picture, it can look 3D. When you look at these two, you can see this is just a plain circle. It's 2D. This looks round, looks like a ball, and that makes it look 3D. So to do that in our picture, we're going to have to practice using more than one color. To make something look 3D, or in this case look like a sphere, we have to add a couple of parts. This part where it's light shining on it directly, we call this the highlight. And that's because that's where the light is really hitting it the most. On the opposite side of where the light is shining, so over here on this opposite side, is what we call the shadow. And it also casts a shadow on the ground. You may have noticed that with your own shadow on the ground sometimes. And then in between, this space in between the highlight and the shadow, we call the mid-tone. Mid for middle, and tone means it's kind of between the lightest and darkest of the sphere colors. So when we do this with our snowman, we're going to start with our circles, and then we are going to practice making our highlight, our midtone, and our shadow. So when we get started, rather than free drawing a circle, I like to find circle makers. And these can be a lot of different things from around the house. This, for example, is a Play-Doh lid. So that I think is going to be for my smallest circle. Then I'm using this plastic cup here for my medium circle, but I'm using the open end to do that. And then this yogurt cup is actually going to be my big circle. So if you want to find some circle makers to do this, that's great. You can try and free draw the circle as well, that's fine. So when we get started, we actually want to start with the small circle first. And that's because when we build a snowman, usually we kind of build it from the ground up. Because of that, it looks like the head is sitting on top of the body balls. And so we got to start with the head and then kind of tuck the sphere or the ball for the body a little bit under the head. Otherwise, it would look like he's just going to kind of roll apart. So we don't want him just touching at a point. We actually want them to kind of overlap a little. So when I start with this head here, I'm going to put that down, and you can use either crayons, and that's actually what I did this one with. This is crayon on dark paper, or you can use oil pastel. I'm going to show you this one in oil pastel since my other one has been done in crayon. So I'm going to just hold this with one hand and then slowly make my circle around it with my other hand, and I just try my best. If you need someone else at home to hold this for you while you trace it, I always say a helper is a good thing when you're trying to trace something. So someone else could hold it while you trace it. All right, so then for my second circle, when I line this up, I don't want to just line it up so that they're just barely touching. I want it to actually go over top that circle a little bit. Not like that, that's too much, just a little bit. And then I start where that circle ends and I draw around it. And then I stop when I get to that circle. I don't go all the way around the cup because then I would be drawing a circle through his head. So now it looks like the ball of snow for the head is sitting on top of the ball of snow for the middle of the body. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom of the body. I'm going to overlap this cup just a little bit with that circle there. And then, oh, I think I got on the cup. There we go. I'm going to trace around it while I'm holding it. And I stop when I get to the circle. I don't go all the way around the cup. So now it looks like the balls are sitting on top of each other rather than looking like they're going to roll off. So now I'm ready to start doing my coloring. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add, before I color, because this is going to be the same color, I forgot, I'm going to add the ground. So I'm going to make a line, I'm putting him up on a hill here, down to each side so that he's sitting on the ground. So then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do my very best 3-star coloring. I'm not pressing too hard though. I'm kind of pressing medium hard here, but I want to color my snowballs in first. So right now they're going to look more like snow circles. They're looking very 2D, and that's okay. But I want to get them all colored in first. This is basically going to be my mid-tone. And then I'm going to add my highlights and my shadows on top. And I'm also going to color the ground at the same time because the ground is also going to be made out of snow. Now if you're using oil pastels, you can blend these a little bit with your finger if you want. That's fine. The oil pastels do tend to show up a little bit brighter than the crayons do. But yeah, if you want to kind of blend them with your finger, you can. I'm not going to worry about that since I'm doing a little bit more work on top. So I'm also going to color the ground at this point all the way down to the bottom of the picture. Doing my 3-star coloring. And then once I'm done with this, I am going to start adding in my highlights. And I'm actually going to use the white for the highlight. And I did that with the crayon too. I'm going to press harder now to make the highlight. The highlight needs to line up with the moon. So if I'm going to do the highlight over on this side, then the moon needs to be on this side. If I'm going to do the highlight on this side, then the moon needs to be on this side. So I always tend to do mine on the right hand side. So I'm going to put my moon up here. It can be a full moon, or you can do it like a crescent moon or a half moon. That's up to you. And if you're going to add that moon now, you can color it in now as well. And I'm going to press a little harder on the moon, make it a little bit brighter, kind of like how my highlights are going to be. All right, so now I can add my highlights in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of swirl a circle shape onto that side of the snowman for each snowball. Okay, so now I've got my highlights, and those are where the moonlight's shining. And if you want to kind of loosen up that circle, make the edges fade a little bit, you can add a little bit kind of around the edges there to sort of blend it. Or you could use your finger and kind of blend it as well. Looks like I have yellow on my finger. All right, also on the snow, we're going to add a highlight. And so if the moon is on this side, then the highlight is on this side. So then I come down here to the snow and add in that highlight on the snow as well. All right, so now that I've got my highlights done, I am going to add in the shadow. And the shadow goes on the opposite side. And I want to use kind of like a lighter blue. This blue would be okay. This blue would be okay. This one might be okay, but it might be a little bit dark. So I'm going to stick, I think, with this one here. So then on the opposite side, I'm going to color around the edge. Kind of looks almost like a banana. Like that. And that's going to make my shadow. So you're making a banana-shaped shadow here on these spheres of snow. All right, so now that I have my shadows on the opposite side from the highlights, I also need to add that shadow that is being cast by my snowman on the snow down here. So I'm going to make that shadow over here, and it's going to go all the way up to the ball of snow and then kind of fade out. Okay, so now I have a snowman that looks more 3D than 2D. So now I can go in and start to add some of those other snowman details. I might add a scarf or a hat. I think for this one, I am gonna go with a frosty style. So I am gonna add a triangle, a circle, and a triangle to make a bow tie. And then I think I'm gonna give him a frosty hat as well. So I'm gonna make sure that hat is on his head a little bit. I don't want it just sitting on the very top. And then leave a little spot there to color, I think maybe some red, and give him a red stripe on his hat there. So I'm adding these things in right on top of what I've already done. Now oil pastel does tend to cover over itself a little bit better than crayon. You can see in the crayon there's a little bit of a lighter kind of part where the hat is over his head, but that's okay. And then I'm going to add the red in here. So now he's wearing something, and then I might use my black and make little circle eyes and use little circles for the mouth. I think I'm going to give him some buttons too. I'm going to give him 3 buttons down the middle here. I'm going to use my orange to make a triangle shaped nose for a carrot nose. And then I am going to use my brown and give him some stick hands. Like that. All right, and the last thing I can do is I can add into the background, I could do stars, I could do snow. In this one I did the snow, and I do it like this, X, and then put the extra line through it because snowflake is 6 sides. Some people like to decorate their snow, put little balls on the end and maybe like a circle in the middle. So you can do large snowflakes like that. You could do, ones that are farther away, or ones that are really far away might be little dots. So you can decorate like that. You can definitely add some stars in because it is nighttime. We're doing our snowman at night. So you can add all these other little things in around your snowman to finish decorating your background. Just like that. So when you're finished, it looks something like this. All right. I hope you have fun.